Hi, this is Dr. Portia Preston, author of Hustle, Flow, or Let It Go, a guide to shame free wellness that honors your reality and gives you life. I am recording this on Friday afternoon, and I'm already low on spoons, so I'm hoping my sense of humor will get me through. I've been wanting to do a video for a long time talking about what does it look like to navigate the healthcare system, especially if you have a chronic condition, without becoming a professional patient. And because I hate scripting and planning, I'm just going to do it. So if you have my book, you can turn to page. See, I told you I didn't the last part. Okay. 125. All right. Becoming the captain of your healthcare team. The book is written in small mini retreats. So this is a 3-page section. Okay. And I start off talking about preventative care. And what I realize is that when it comes to healthcare screening, there's a lot of noise out there, and it's really hard to know who to listen to. So, what I would say is that you can go to the US Preventive Task Force and get a list of recommended screenings. There are websites like Kaiser and other entities that have general recommendations. But then you need to consider your own live context to understand your risk profile and if you should do something more often. So I'm going to give you an example of a screening and how I adjust it, okay? For breast cancer, I believe the recommendation currently is every 2 years. However, I used to work for Susan G. Komen, and I worked with the Circle of Promise where I did breast health awareness. And I spent a lot of time in the community talking to Black women, many of whom were not really wanting to go get their mammograms. And there were a couple of reasons why. It wasn't just education, they knew. One was the time, just being able to make the time for it in their lives, being so scheduled, tight, and the, how do I describe it? Almost like the linchpin of their families. It's not just, I can't afford to take the time to go get a mammogram. It's also, I can't afford to find out that I have breast cancer because I am what's holding everything together. And if something happens to me, then I'm not going to be here for everyone. And that was a little difficult at first to know how do we address this. But in the end, by working with the community and finding survivors who people related to, they were able to tell them the reason that you really do want to prioritize this is because we are more likely to have more deadly forms and we are more likely to be diagnosed later. And both of those things make it such that even though we don't get it more than white women, we are more likely to die from breast cancer. So I take the recommended screenings and I think about, okay, if we know in the population the risk of someone having breast cancer is at this level, and I'm a Black woman and it's a little bit more of a risky scenario for me, how often do I want to get screened? So, and I'm just telling you my personal, I'm not giving you my public health professional lens on this. This past year, I said, you know what? I'm going to do it after a year. I don't want this to fall off the radar. I want to make sure that I'm good. And so there's other people that will tell you not to do that. I would say talk to your doctors and make your own decisions. But I just want you to know that when we make general recommendations, I'm a public health professor. We look at population health and we look at likelihood, but we're not looking at your life. So I want you to take the time to go look at recommended health screenings, look at your age, look at your risk, look at your family history, and then start to think about where can I get started, okay? I don't want you to spend the years that you have healthcare not going and proactively caring for yourself. If you don't have access to healthcare, that's a different issue. Let's find the resources in our community that are sliding scale. Let's find out about federally qualified health clinics. Let's talk about the issue, first of all, that healthcare is not affordable without shame. But I want you to use the care that you have. So the annual exams, right? Um, for women, getting your, pap smears regularly. And I know that people say that some of these things are painful, but they are instituted because the alternative is really painful. So that's me on my soapbox. First of all, making sure that you're getting the preventative care that you can, okay? Setting reminders. I know a lot of people do it in their birth month, so they remember. There's so much I can unpack there, but no one is going to care for your health more than you are. and you want to take the advice that you're getting, and you really want to think through it. There's a lot of information out there these days, and a lot of sharp opinions. And I always think it's important to be able to take in information and really think through what are the consequences for you. Okay, so that's the first part. Second part, dealing with complex health issues. There's a part of my book where I said, in my own journey, dealing with chronic illness, over time, I've learned to notice when I was tackling too many health issues at once. Sometimes I felt like a detective chasing clues to get to the bottom of my most recent diagnosis. Other times, I felt like an executive assistant trying to navigate appointment schedules for multiple providers, along with the responsibilities of my personal and professional life. But mostly, I felt like a professional patient. Doing my best in any particular day starts with taking the most basic steps to manage my condition, such as measuring my blood pressure and taking my medications. This consistency pays off over time. So I'm going to go ahead and tell myself, you guys. I know that I pulled my blood pressure monitor out because I was going to take it this morning, and I'm pretty sure it's just sitting wherever I placed it. So that's not enough, guys, right? I monitor my blood pressure because number one, I have secondary hypertension, meaning it came as a result of a condition that I have. So it's something that I have to look after, but also because I take medications that can affect my blood pressure. So um, it's really important for me to stay on top of my health, and I have a why. You have to anchor this in a why. Why am I doing these things? For me, I don't want to have unnecessary comorbidities. So that's my why. The part about medication, super excited to share this with you guys. I've been wanting to make a video about this forever. These are my medication containers. And the reason I wanted to share this with you is because when I first started dealing with chronic illness, I used to mix up my medications all the time. Then when I started taking medications where because of the ingredients, they don't really let you get ahead. So you end up running out every month. Those who know. Um, I need to be able to know like more than a week in advance what's coming up for me, right? And so these containers, I can pull one out and fill like all three parts of the day. Now, I'm not using the third one right now, but if I needed to, if I had a bigger pill or something to take midday, I can just pull out the whole row. And once per week, I just go through and I just drop everything in. So this has been my best asset. If I'm traveling, like I'm traveling next week, I'm going to take Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then I always try to bring one extra day just in case. Throw that in my bag and I'm done. My meds are figured out. So find something that works for you that you're actually going to use. I am really grateful that we're continuing to like innovate in this space because at the beginning I had that big fat pill box and my roommate would have to sit with me and I would like have to study it like, is that the right pill? And then I'm changing meds all the time. So you have to do this in a way that works for you. If you know that you forget to take your meds, I put mine next to my bed. I try to take them in the morning before I do anything else. I can usually tell within half an hour if I forgot to take them. And then I have my supplements in a different container. I just hit myself in the eye. That's fine. My glasses caught it. But anyway, I have little labels on here and I can just pop it up and, pull it out. Those two things really help me to be more compliant because it's not easy living with chronic illness. And there's so many things behind the scenes that people have no idea that you're dealing with. So whatever you can do to make it easier, absolutely do. And I know that I'm not perfect as I'm thinking right now. I'm like, oh, I still forgot to change this med from 2 days ago. But actually, earlier today, went and picked up a refill of the medication so that I would have it when I go out of town in a few days. So there's always work to be done, but you have to do what you can. I can't control everything with my condition, but I try to make sense of the mix that I have going on and what are the steps that I can do and just take it one at a time. I've had periods of time where I was changing meds constantly and I just got like these big piles of pills everywhere. And it took time to remind myself, okay, put those in a bag, go take them somewhere. And, it's like a whole other job. Okay. And I just want to validate that for people that struggle. My energy varies from day to day. I'm actually going through a time right now where my body is really feeling sensitive and that I just need to sit still. And that's been super hard for me. So when I talk in the book about like, where does the hustle show up for me when it comes to navigating healthcare, trying to do everything at once, not giving myself grace to let things take time, adjusting to a new condition that I didn't expect to have, that I have to navigate now, and that I have side effects for, and then be able to advocate and say, this is what I can do, and this is what I can't do. All of that is a hustle to me. So it's not just, oh, I'm hustling with my job. No, I am hustling to stay well in a world that does not understand my complex needs. So I want you to know that. Secondly, working with providers. I know it's not easy, and sometimes you have to work with people who don't get you. I have cried at health appointments and just been like, wow, you really wanted me to feel terrible about myself, didn't you? Or you didn't like that I questioned you. It's not easy. And it's taken me a long time to find people that I feel even moderately comfortable with. A few things that I do in appointments, I like to try to record because at this point, my doctor's recording too. So my therapist is recording, so I might as well get my own notes. And I keep a little health update section so that I can actually tell, oh, this is how I felt when I took this medication. My records aren't perfect, but there's something, right? Sorry about the camera going in and out. I just keep moving my hands, and I should probably stop doing that. So I underlined something from page 132. Consistency isn't about perfection, but a commitment to resume the process from wherever I am. And that's the promise that I make to myself as somebody who is dealing with multiple health issues. How can I meet myself where I am? How can I work with my providers to advocate for my needs? And when I'm not getting supported, if I'm not able to advocate for myself and get that addressed, then what are my options? Right? I've had misdiagnoses. I have had health events that were awful that maybe could have been avoided, but they weren't. And I've had to deal with that and it hurts. So I want to acknowledge that there's such thing as medical trauma. And then you layer on top of that not being taken seriously. Um, we talk about implicit and explicit bias in the healthcare system and in other areas. So even without assuming the worst about someone, we have documented evidence. Somebody can go into appointment and just think, oh, well, that person's just complaining. They're not really in as much pain. And then someone else comes in and presents the same thing, and they're like, oh, they're really in pain. Let me help them. So, the best thing I can do for somebody who's really going through it is to not gaslight you and say, yeah, that's real. It happens. Okay. Even for me, like having a doctor of public health walking in, if I come on too strong, the doctor is just like, nope. And they like shut down because they feel like I'm questioning them. And so that's been a journey that I've had to navigate to say, look, it is my job. This is my body. I have to be on top of this. I'm going to ask you questions. But I think what has helped to make that better now is I try to be organized when I go in. I try to be clear about what I need. But it's hard. And I think that's the best thing I can say to somebody that's really in the thick of it. And where support comes in, um, get care for the things that you can and try to be a good human, not just to yourself, but to other people that are struggling. The best thing that I've had on my chronic illness journey is people that really care about me and see me as human. And so if I tell them that I'm struggling with my energy like I am right now, they don't go, oh, well, you'll be fine, or you should just push through it. I don't give them that opportunity anymore. Now I'm just like, no, I'm sitting still because I know how I feel. My body feels like it's on fire. I know I don't look like it. And that's the value of me doing this video for you guys and pushing through it, even though obviously somebody in my neighborhood is like having the time of their life. And every time I think I'm going to pause, they go, woohoo. Maybe you can't hear it, but I can. Anyway, I'm pushing through this because I want to share the things that I wish someone had shared with me when I was just getting diagnosed with kidney disease, starting a job in management consulting, had a blood clot immediately, and was going through periods of disability and ended up getting on a performance improvement plan because who can really do your best when you're trying not to die? um, and because I didn't know I was neurodivergent and a ton of other things. And I wish somebody had pulled me aside and said, this is a really hard part. And I'm sorry that you're going through this and you're not alone. And here's how you can advocate for yourself. And it's not your fault. Yeah, that would have been really cool. So, anyway, I hope that encouraged you. I am going to go ahead and pause this video because I want them to get a little bit shorter, but I'll be back in the next one and we'll talk about social wellness. Thanks. Bye.